Hey guys, it's Lauren from Jody's Hdfs 438 class. First off, I just wanted to give a big thank you and shout out to Jody. I'm just about to finish up and graduate, and I've never had a class quite like this in my college experience. I thought the setup of the class was absolutely awesome. Normally, 3-hour classes can be pretty intimidating, but by having it as a big class discussion the entire time and with the guest panels, it really brought something new to the class. I also think by having the discussion, we were able to hear from pretty much everyone in the class on their thoughts and feelings on certain subjects, which is awesome rather than just having a teacher standing up at the whiteboard. I also thought that panels coming into the class was a great way to learn about different cultures and getting the different exposures to different groups rather than just reading from our text. We were able to see that in real life and apply it to real life situations. So going back to the first day of class, I remember writing down that the goal of this class, and really for everyone, should be to develop a positive identity. And I think that for a lot of people, that's a really hard topic because it depends on your family and what they've taught you at home, the neighborhoods that you grew up in, what you've had to face throughout your life. And so I think really writing it down is a lot easier than making it happen. I know for me, like I've shared in the class, I look on the outside pretty white, but I'm actually 75% Armenian, and some of my other family members look a lot more Middle Eastern than I do. And I remember growing up, no one believed me that, one, I was Armenian, and two, if I said I was white, people wouldn't believe I was white. So I always felt like there wasn't really a place for me to fit in. I grew up in a predominantly white Mormon neighborhood, and so comparatively to some of the other people, they could look at me and tell I wasn't like the rest. And so for me, it was a hard thing growing up. I never really knew who to identify with, what to be proud of, if I should be proud of where I came from. It took me about until college, to be honest, and getting kind of exposures to different cultures, different people. I learned it's okay to be proud of where you come from, and after taking this class, it definitely has opened my eyes to a lot of things as well. I really don't think twice about sharing who I am, where I've come from, what blood makes me, that kind of stuff. So I think I give a lot of props to this class and college in general, and really just getting that exposure out there. One of the reoccurring themes we talked about throughout the class was the color line. I remember learning that in the first couple of classes, and then we kind of carried it through the semester and wrapped up with some intense class sessions on the color line. And the biggest thing that I take away from it is why it exists. One of the book excerpts that I wanted to share was that the role of race was less powerful than I had expected. In terms of the areas this book had focused on, how children spend their time, the way parents use language and discipline at home, the nature of families' social connections, and strategies used for interventing in institutions, white and black parents engaged in very similar, often identical practices with their children. At children's ages, the importance of race was relatively nothing in their lives. And so, kind of reading that and studying the development of children, it's clear to see that race isn't really a big deal when you're a child. That's not something you think of. And so that means that it's really coming from the influences in the home and societal influences, which really is a bummer. We live in such a society that we want to conform to what everyone else thinks and don't want to step outside the norm and stand up for what we believe in a lot of the time. And I think it's time that we change that. Part of the solution, I think, for that is education and exposure. One of the easiest ways to do that would be kind of correcting coded language use. Instead of saying, oh, that's a good school, if it's an all-white school, why don't we bring that issue to the table and kind of call that person out, like, you know what, let's talk about this. I think that being able to talk about things is one of the key parts of everything that's missing in today's society, and really hearing the other person's side. I think it's so easy to have your own opinion and stick to it and not want to hear anything else. And part of the beauty of humans is that we have our own opinions and beliefs, and that's part of the country we live in. So let's at least hear out the other side and then together focus on that solution. With the exposure to different cultures, different races, I really think that you can grow to appreciate where other people come from. I know that I've always kind of grown up with an appreciation for other cultures, being from a house that was taught to me at a young age. But even leaving this class now, hearing all the different panels, everyone's stories in the classes, I look at everyone in a completely different light. So I think if we could focus on education and exposure, we really can have a more blended together society.